Hey guys, welcome back to Joko Yo. And a few days ago, a few episodes back, we talked about baseball being a really big thing in Johnston County, going way back with the farm teams and the mill teams and the minor leagues and so on. But you know what this started out to be, today's episode, it started out to be one thing and ended up being a whole nother one, and that isn't that the way it goes. So, I was going to start this podcast and have a whole podcast just about this one dude. Pretty impressive dude, especially coming out of where he came out of. So, we got this guy, and if you know anything about Johnston counties, I won't even say geography, but sort of geography, because what it's called, the area that it's called, is based on the geography. There's a place that's just north of, say, Benson and just south of McGee's Crossroads called Elevation. And partially, if you look at the topographical map, you'll see exactly why, because it's quite literally on an elevation. In this elevation area, a lot of really cool people came out of this joint, out of this region. But you know, one of the cooler people came out of this region was and you completely unexpected. Like there are no factories there. There's no like town. It's just like a region. It's not even a region in the same sense that Meadow is a region. I mean, when you get to Meadow, you know you're in Meadow. There's a school. There's some churches. There's a fire department. There's some restaurants. But Elevation's got nothing but a fire department and some houses. And that's and maybe a couple businesses. I mean, it does have a couple of those, but really, it's not. I mean, it's not even Meadow kind of settlement. It's just just a place. And I would say, well, it's sort of like Broad Slab in that regard, but Broad Slab at least does have a business or two, even if one of them's legal and a bunch of illegals, a whole bunch of illegal businesses. But Elevation's got some of those too. I'm not gonna lie, But this guy coming out of Elevation area is going to go on to become a classical composer. How in the world does that even happen? I mean, I'm sorry to assume something about you, the listener, but me, I would associate Elevation with fiddles and guitars and, pianos perhaps, but classical music is not the first thing that pops in my head when I think of Elevation in Johnston County, north of Benson. But yeah, here we got this dude, man. This dude is named Hunter Johnson. You may have heard of him. He does a few things. Hunter Johnson's actually pretty big time, honestly. I mean, how does this happen? The dude, so Hunter Johnson's a classical composer, UNC Chapel Hill graduate. He gets an honorary doctorate from UNC Chapel Hill. That's got to make him one of the few people in Johnston County total. Studies at the Eastman School of Music. He's going to teach music at the University of Michigan, University of Manitoba in Canada, the Cornell, the University of Illinois, University of Texas. He's going to win the Prix de Rome Prize, a McDowell Fellowship, 2 Guggenheim Fellowships. And in 1991 was named the North Carolina's first composer laureate of North Carolina. Y'all, that just don't happen. But here it is. And yeah, I've actually heard some of his stuff. It's kind of neat. So there's that guy. Yeah, look him up. Pictures and whatnot. He's pretty famous. A couple of interviews I've seen by the guy. He writes some ballets for Martha Graham, and how about that? I was going to start with that, and then so then you got this other guy that I went a little bit further with, and this makes me think more of Johnston County and Benson in particular, but not to the degree that I see it. I mean, the style, yeah. But to the degree that I saw this, and you may probably already know this, because if you have ever watched WRAL and you know about the guy that goes around, the Tar Heel Traveler, and well, he did an episode not far back, not too long ago, backwards, about this guy from Benson. He actually was born around, if I'm not mistaken, around Fayetteville, maybe Sampson County. And anyway, this guy's name is Jimmy Capps. If you've seen it, it's pretty cool. I did some research on the guy, and I watched the interview with this Tar Heel Traveler. And so he's been playing on radios since he was 12 years old in the 50s. He played guitar on WCKB in Benson Dunn area back when he was 12. And so going from being 12 years old playing the guitar on local radio to now, well, at least last year, 2018, we go to the Grand Ole Opry, like the Grand Ole Opry. The backstage room that is used at the Grand Ole Opry was actually named the Jimmy Capps Music Room. I mean, named for this dude from Benson. He's still alive. And if you don't really know his name, which again, if you've watched the thing with Tar Heel Traveler, you know his name, you've known his face. But y'all, if you don't know his name, maybe you know these songs. Hey, you know that song, "The Gambler" by Kenny Rogers in the very beginning? I'm not going to play these for copyright issues, but you know that at the very beginning where it's dun, 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 you know, where at the very beginning of the guitar licks, at the very beginning of "The Gambler," that's Jimmy Capps. Which, that right there sells me. I grew up listening to Kenny Rogers, that's my age. But "Stand By Your Man" by Tammy Wynette, "He Stopped Loving Her Today" by George Jones, that classic. Conway Twitty, a few songs there. Oh, George Strait, there's a song called "Unwound." Amarillo by Morning, I can hear that in my head. "Here in the Real World" by Alan Jackson. "Elvira" by the Oak Ridge Boys. Y'all, Jimmy Capps is on all of those songs that I just named. And he's also played with Andy Williams, Ray Charles, Mac Davis, John Conley, Johnny Paycheck, Ernest Tubb, talking about classical royalty or country royalty. You got Katie Lang, John Denver, Tom Jones even. This dude's has played with all those guys, and the backstage room at the Grand Ole Opry is named for him. He would on average do about 520 recording sessions per year. This guy has the most number one hit recordings, according to the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences. He's won the award for that. He's been on the band at the Country Music Awards. He was on there for 20 years. People's Choice Awards, Grand Ole Opry Live. You'll hear Jimmy Capps, Jimmy Capps, Jimmy Capps. The man just recently released a book called "The Man in Back." It was kind of neat little play on words there. And was awarded the Order of the Longleaf Pine by Jim Hunt. That is like the highest honor that a civilian can get in North Carolina, and a dude from Benson got it. I'm sort of in awe, and I'm sort of jealous. Well done, Jimmy Capps. So that's why I expect more from the area of Benson. You know, that you don't really expect classical, but it's cool that you got it. You kind of do expect more country, but not to that degree. Hey, so I also sort of see this coming too, but still really, really impressive. You got another person just outside of Benson, around the Meadow, Bentonville area. Now, her name is Lena Mae Perry. She's still alive too. She is a gospel singer. She sings with a group called the Branchettes. She has won the North Carolina Heritage Award. Again, all these people. I mean, I had heard of Hunter Johnson, and I've also heard of another person I'm going to tell you about in a second. I've heard this person. I know this person, but these other two, Jimmy Capps. I mean, how do I go that my whole life and not know that this guy lives where I grew up? And then you have Lena Mae Perry, who's not too far away. She, again, NC Heritage Award. I heard her sing. Man, that's some powerful stuff. And she actually is going to be performing on the 8th of December, 2019, just a few weeks from now, at 1 p.m. at the Fruit in Durham, as part of the Duke Performances series. She's won an NC Heritage Award. That's an award I haven't won, and I sure can't sing like that either. Another person I did that, again, I had no idea. How do I not know these things? There's a lady that's not actually from around Benson. Her name was Algie Mae Hinton. And when I heard this lady sing, holy moly. She is she died last year. And she was one of the last players of the Piedmont blues style of music. One of the very last ones. And if you don't know what that means, if you could put in your head and maybe listen to some examples, Etta Baker, also Piedmont blues, Mississippi John Hurt, Piedmont blues, Blind Willie McTell. I've read Ernie K. Doe would be one of those. When you've heard their songs, you'll know what I'm talking about. This is one of the last players of the Piedmont blues, Miss Algie Mae Hinton. She's from around the Emmet Thanksgiving area, around Middlesex, right there at the border. She performed at folk festivals nationally. She performed in Italy. The lady performed at Carnegie Hall, and I'd never even known she existed until recently. She got the NC Folk Heritage Award in 1992, and as is kind of commonplace in old Johnston County, she was one of 14 kids. Her mother and father were farm laborers and had to work real hard. She herself, she had 7 children herself, but her husband died when she was only in her 30s, and so she had to raise all 7 by herself. Which I've heard her sing. She is amazing. The tone quality, the song choices. I could so see her hitting it big. But I can also understand why you don't whenever you've got to support a family of 7 and kind of leaves very little time for actually music making. And so it was only in the last few years of her life that she actually got herself a CD. But man, she is magic. Anyway, crazy. And then, of course, I'm just going to throw a plug out to this guy. He doesn't even have, I'm sure he has no idea that I'm talking about him. But there's this guy named Jonathan Parker. He plays around North Carolina. Country music. I'm not really myself generally a fan of country music, but in this case, I'm a Jonathan Parker fan, that's for sure. And I never knew he had it in him. They told me he had it in him. I didn't know. And the Jonathan Parker Band, he plays around the area, playing in Garner. He's played in Surf City. He's played all around Johnston County. You can look him up on YouTube. He's got a couple CDs out, and he has a couple concerts coming up next week. So, y'all, Johnston County music, dude, I was going to start with like Hunter Johnson and just, have fun with that. But then the more I researched, I thought, holy moly, we need to have our own Johnston County Music Hall of Fame. Y'all, let's get on that. Let's make that happen. It's necessary. We got people in classical, country, and blues and gospel that have hit it big time. Hey, chop on it. Let's go. And there it is. And until next time, y'all, I've enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you again later on. I got some more stuff coming out. Be good.